Hello, friends, and happy Wednesday. It's great to be here with you. Whether you're joining me live or you're joining me on replay, welcome to today's live level up conversation. It is great to have you here. Let's go ahead and dive right in.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Market update. Speed round. Award-winning financial pro. And now, get ready. I present to you Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hello, friends. It's great to be here with you. I'm Winnie Sun, your host, an award winning financial pro, a Forbes contributor, and a CNBC council member. And yeah, we're streaming here live. So definitely jump in, say hello, introduce yourself. Let me know how you're doing this week. We're going to go ahead and start, of course, and tell you how the market is going. Of course, the market hasn't closed yet. It'll be open for a few more hours, but let's see how it's doing. Currently, the Dow is down 32 points. The Nasdaq though is up 102 points in the positive. The S&P 500 is also up 10 points currently. We'll check back in before the show is over, but definitely a mixed day so far. Now, some of the news that have been headlining today and actually this week, I want to share with you because there's been a lot of interesting news. One of the big ones I know many of you who are watching in our Modern Mom audience that comes in as well is paying attention, and that is pertaining to student debt. More student debt looks like it's going to be forgiven. In fact, President Joe Biden has just announced the approval of another $9 billion in student loan forgiveness. This is going to affect, they're estimating, about 125,000 Americans. This is sort of the result of the Biden administration's pursuit to really pave the way for more student loan forgiveness, including income-driven repayment plans. And they even have this thing called the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. So over 5 billion of aid now we know will go to about 53,000 borrowers who have worked in public service. Now, these are individuals who've been working in public service for at least a decade, so 10 years or more. And then $2.8 billion is going to be earmarked for about 51,000 borrowers who will be enrolled in a income-driven repayment plan. So, this is what goes in the argument of fair but not equal, right? And so helping those who are making less not having to make as big of a payment so they don't default on their loan. They're saying, of course, another 22,000 borrowers will be affected by $1.2 billion is going to be earmarked for borrowers who have disabilities. So that's another part of the plan. So this action does follow, as you remember, the Supreme Court's rejection of, of Joe Biden's plan originally to cancel up to $20,000 in student debt for millions of Americans. So that wasn't allowed. But looks like if you're able to create these categories, it looks like this is happening. So now federal student loan repayment started as of Sunday, October 1st. So this was a pause that took place for 3 years. That was due to the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic. But now it's come back, and a lot of concerns have been about whether or not people can make their payments, make them payments on time, especially since they really didn't make payments for the last 3 years. Some people did, perhaps, but a lot of people didn't. So Biden is also announcing a 12-month, what he calls an on-ramp to repayment to help those who maybe weren't ready and who are going to have issues at least in the next year of missing payments and whatnot. They're going to have some sort of provision for that, so it won't be the end of the world as well. So for those of you who have student loan debt, I'm curious to see, is this good news to you? Were you hoping for more? Or for those of you who don't have student debt, how do you feel about that as well? Because I know there's a lot of Americans who don't have student debt that have, voiced their opinions on this topic as well. All right. On to our next story, though. I want to talk to you about this, talking about things that cost more money and having to pay for more things. Let's talk about social media. Now, odds are that you're joining me live right now on some sort of social media platform. In fact, I see CrossX Fighter joining us on YouTube Live. Well, I think we can agree that, many, many Americans, especially those of you who are on the show with me today, use social media, whether it be for pleasure, personal reasons, for business reasons, a combination of the two, for information, for education. We really have, used social media for different ways. Just like YouTube has such been a significant change from like traditional TV. It's like basically TV on demand, right? So things have been evolving. And so you probably use social media in some form in your life. Like I love going to certain platforms for news and information, and you might do that as well. But how would you like using social media if you had to pay for it? Well, it looks like that time is coming, my friends. Unfortunately, it looks like it's not just one platform, multiple platforms are all jumping in. In fact, Meta is exploring the possibility of offering subscription versions of Instagram and Facebook in Europe. This is as a response of the EU's stringent ad privacy regulations. They're like, well, if we can't just share different types of ads and whatnot, then someone's got to pay, right? Social media can't be a nonprofit. So they're saying they're going to be doing these subscription tiers that will come with ad free experiences, and they're going to cost about $10.50 if we were using US dollars to give you an idea how much that would cost. For desktop accounts, and for a mobile, it's going to cost you a premium, about $14 for mobile accounts, due to the commissions that they have to pay to Google's App Store as well as Apple's App Store. So this is an effort for the EU's crackdown of personalized advertising. And they're saying that people should have the option to opt out of personalized ads based on their platform activity. However, this subscription model compliance with EU laws really is sort of more in flux. We're not sure. I think a lot of this has to be flushed out still, but it's showing that Meta is acknowledging that there needs to be a value of free services supported by personalized ads, but they're open to the idea of evolving for regulatory standards. But that's going to come at a pace and a pay for you. So, my question to all of you watching today is, how do you feel about paying for Instagram, for Facebook, for $10? $10, I'm guessing it's going to be $10 a month. $10 if you're using on desktop, $14 if you're using on mobile. How do you feel about that? Would that cause you to really think about which platform you're going to commit to? I think for me it would. I mean, I feel like I wouldn't have so many different social media platforms, right? Or presences. I would be more careful about which platform I use because I wouldn't want to pay for more than one. And I wouldn't really have to think about the value. Like, is it an area where I have the most engagement and most people I can talk to, and like the information is trustworthy? That's a big one. So Apple's introduction of ad tracking opt-outs, and that was just in 2021. That definitely posed a significant challenge to companies such as Twitter, which is now X, Meta, and a lot of other companies as well. So we'll see how that goes. But that's not all. There's like so many changes now in, companies trying to get more market share of what you spend, and just finding ways for their own business to evolve and to retain sustainability, right? So you can't really blame businesses for making these tough decisions, but then on the other hand, you can't blame consumers for making their choice on where they want to spend money as well. Now, one company that's been paying attention to these trends is Macy's. In fact, Macy's, I'm sure many of you have shopped in Macy's. I know I did it as a kid, and I remember it was even different names before it was Macy's. But it's quite an experience. You go in, sometimes there's multiple floors, multiple sections, and like I remember before I had kids, my husband and I would go, and he would go on one floor, I would go on another floor and buy what we needed. We meet up in the middle, and then we could pay on whichever floor we felt like. Right? It was like kind of a different type of shopping experience than many of us do today. Well, because of that, Macy's is now gonna go little, and it could be going little near you. In fact, Macy's plans to open up 30 smaller stores in strip malls over the next 2 years, targeting really suburban areas. These smaller format stores are going to be about, get this, one-fifth the size of a traditional Macy's mall location. Now, this shift is, of course, is an adaptation to the changing shopping habits of you and I. And of course, if you've been to a mall lately, you also know there's a lot less people in the parking lot and a lot less people in the mall. Now, I'm sure there are some malls that are just still just as bustling busy, but there are a lot of malls in many neighborhoods across the United States that have been shutting down. So Macy's is testing these small format stores. They've been testing them for 4 years. In fact, I remember when I went with my family to Maui, Hawaii, we stayed at the Maui Hyatt, and they actually had a small format Macy's, and I thought that was really interesting. It didn't have a lot of merchandise, but it was enough for in that particular case. They had beachwear, and they had some like towels and things that you would need in Hawaii. And I thought it was really clever because you had a Macy's there. So obviously people could use their gift cards, and there was a trust that would be easy to return. So there was some of the things that you've experienced and are familiar with Macy's, and knowing that you have that shopping ability, but it was in really small format. So the convenience and accessibility of these locations with high traffic areas, they have said that there's been a lot of success of these smaller stores. And that also helps because if you go to these stores, at least the one I went to in Hawaii, it seemed like, if the item wasn't in the store and you wanted it, it could even help you order it and have it shipped to you. So it just gives them another outlet, but they can, handle a lot of the typical Macy's transactions. So they're saying they're going to have 15 smaller stores by the end of the year, and they're going to plan to add more. And they're phasing out the Market by Macy's branding. And they said, some of these stores have achieved comparable sales growth in contrast to sort of larger, big mall locations. So Macy's has been a lot of pressure to attract that younger consumer and stand out from competition. And, maybe I guess young people just don't enjoy the Macy's shopping experience as much as they like going in and out, right? So some of those smaller stores enable you to get in and out. It's a lot easier of a shopping experience and try to navigate and figure everything out. I don't know. When I go to Macy's, I do feel like it's the mall stores, it's hard to find help. So that could be part of it too. But the company is focusing on, yeah, these different things and private brands and all that stuff. But speaking of shopping, today, like we're going to talk a lot about shopping. Joshua is saying Cross X Fighter hasn't been in a Macy's in a long time. I haven't been in one in a long time either. I don't feel like I really need to be in one in a long time. I do feel like nowadays, Macy's, when I think of Macy's, I think of like two things, like clothing, right? And I think of like cosmetics because I feel like they have a big cosmetics. So clothing, shoes, something like that. I do feel like nowadays, because things aren't so buttoned up and so like fitted as before, I do feel like it's easier to shop. Do you feel like it's easier to shop? I feel like you can buy things that will probably fit. And if it doesn't, like returning via the mail isn't as cumbersome as it used to be. It's not that bad. So, and you get to try things in the comfort of your own home. I don't think it's so bad. I think we've gotten used to it. Amazon sort of trained us on like easy returns. I think it works. But anyhow, speaking of Amazon, let's segue over to my next story. And this is a big one. Okay. Jeff Bezos' Nemesis, he has one. Well, I guess he actually, my son was telling me it's not just Nemesis, but I guess ops. Like ops is that new word, right? Jeff Bezos' ops is Lena Khan. That's right. So the Federal Trade Commission has filed an antitrust lawsuit against Amazon, which settling up a major confrontation between the FTC's chair, Lena Khan, and Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, as you know, is known for building the Amazon powerhouse monstrosity into a $1 trillion firm, and is now being challenged by Lena Khan, who believes that anti-competitive behavior. In fact, Lena Khan had a 2017 examination of Amazon's practices in the Yale Law Journal, which was influential in shaping the case against Amazon. So Amazon being suggested that they are holding a monopoly. I think many of us would probably agree. They're saying that this monopolist has been unfair and illegal tactics to maintain its power. A claim, of course, that Amazon says not true. Absolutely not true. Now, Jeff Bezos is no longer CEO of Amazon, but he still holds a significant stake in the company in shares and is tied to the innovations that Lena Khan is currently challenging. So anyway, they're going to be going there. They've been doing lots of courtroom clashes between the two, and this is probably going to reshape the competitive landscape for technology companies. In fact, Lena is saying that it could result in significant challenges for the tech industry of making sure that things are fair, competitive, and during her journey as a law student, and now being the chair of the FTC, she is on a mission to challenge Amazon's practices and making sure that things are fair and that I don't know. This is just a beginning because this could obviously impact a lot of other companies, including media, and technology and everything in between. But we'll see how that unfolds. But yeah, Jeff Bezos probably not a fan. Alina Khan is probably not getting a holiday card this year from Jeff Bezos and family. But with that, let's talk about something else. Talking about CEOs, so many CEOs in the news, and sometimes you wonder if being the head of like a $1 billion company or $1 trillion company, does that make you smarter? I question that sometimes, but I'd love to see your thoughts on that and how you feel about this because as we know through this show, we've heard a lot about Elon Musk and how he feels about a lot of things, and we've heard about Jeff Bezos and his yacht and a lot of things there too. But this person talks a lot about a lot of things as well, and that is Jamie Dimon, a CEO of JP Morgan Chase. Now, if you watch CNN and sort of like political news, you'll see Jamie Dimon's often involved whenever there's a discussion of financial matters, obviously, being the CEO of a major financial firm. But here's another thing that Jamie Dimon has an opinion on, and I'm curious to see how you feel about that. He does believe that AI could lead to, get this, shorter work weeks. In fact, he's saying that our kids and probably our grandkids will be working only 3.5 days a week thanks to automation and AI technology. I'm not mad about that. Jamie Dimon, I hope you're right about that. I would love to see that my kids could be happy and productive members of society and to have that better quality of life where they can work 3.5 days and still get everything done that they need to do and like have more time with their families. I think that's great. But he also predicts that advancements in technology could lead to increased lifespans with people living to 100 years of age or longer. And we know that already. I've been studying a lot about this thing called the blue zone. So there are pockets of the world where people are living, a lot of people living over 100 years old. But with technology, he's saying that more people will do that because of all this technology. So I thought I'd share that story with you. I don't know if I have a point with this story, except that I'm curious to see how you feel about that. Do you feel that like AI will change what you do and what your kids do so that they're able to work just 3.5 days out of the week? And do you feel like that's enough? I certainly think it's enough. I hope it's enough where it's an option that mankind can reduce on their stress level and their work life and they have a better quality of life and they can go and travel and see each other and learn and be productive members and just evolve, right? And maybe have future creations and more technology and more advancement and more improvement to help one another. And who knows? I don't know if it's a negative or positive. I'm going to take the positive route because that's how I do it. And hopefully that things will just be better in the future. But let me just say, Jamie Dimon, if you're right, and if you're watching, I do hope that comes. I don't have to wait till my kids are working 3.5 days. I think Joshua, CrossX Fighter, Curtis, who's on the call, I think many of you who are with me on the show right now, we all want 3.5 work days too, right? Why does it have to be our kids? I feel like I would like to work a shorter work week as well. Well, anyhow, I hope that this show was enjoyable to you. I hope you learned something. I hope that you had some fun. But before I cap off, I guess I have one more story to share with you. And I apologize. I thought it was my last story, but I have one more story before I let you go because I think this is a fun one. And this is, let me just say that I'm hoping one day to hear someone say this, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about this, but I'm looking forward to the day when someone says it. I said, my local robot makes the best salads. My local robot makes the best salads. My local robot makes the best coffee. Well, Chipotle Mexican Grill is testing the automation for assembling burrito bowls and salads using this thing called hyphen technology with a focus on digital orders. So, yeah, this is Chipotle's second venture into AI, into automation, introduction of Chippy. Chippy, the robot that makes tortilla chips. That was the first one. And now they're going to have a robot that will help make your bowl and your salad. So I guess I don't know if you can get your, I mean, at this point, I think what I'm most hoping for is, of course, that my robot is very clean and my salads and my bowls are made so they don't have extra ingredients and not too little ingredients, and they're made like the same way every time. Clean, perfect, predictable, and less expensive. I love that. So Hyphen's robot will manage the ingredient dispensing process under the digital make line. And this is supposed to help employees build focus on assembling other things like tacos and quesadillas and burritos. But then I'm wondering like if like your robot named Hyphen can make salads and bowls, why couldn't they make tacos and quesadillas and burritos too, right? I mean, yeah, question. Maybe this is just the first phase, but let me know if you get one of these in your neighborhood. I feel like I'm going to follow the stores. Hopefully, I'll find a Chipotle near me that has this and I can film it because I think that'd be really, really fun. But anyway, with that, let's take a look at the market. Oh, look at that. We've been talking, the market's gone up. Love it. Dow's up 6 points. Nasdaq's up even more, up 125 points now. And the S&P 500 is also up 18 points right now as well. So thank you so much for being here. And I appreciate your time. It is wonderful to have you join us. And thanks so much for being an important audience for Level Up. If you found value in this video, do me a favor and smash that like button and hit subscribe to keep up to the latest updates. And don't forget, you can find full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Samsung, LG, Roku, and many other streaming platforms. And with that, I'll see you again this week. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for your support and take care now. Bye-bye.